After surviving cancer, I was just grateful to be alive. My husband promised he'd never leave my side again. But then I found a box hidden in the garage, full of gifts, lingerie, and handwritten notes. None of them were addressed to me. When I confronted him, he said, I needed someone healthy. Someone whole. I didn't cry. I just made a phone call to a reporter who'd been following my story. What she published made him lose everything. I never planned on surviving cancer. When I got the diagnosis, stage 3 ovarian cancer, I thought that was it. I was 41, living in Asheville, North Carolina, working part-time at a local bookshop, and married to Greg for 12 years. We didn't have kids, but we had a quiet life. Good friends. A mortgage. We had plans. Greg held me the night we got the news. I was shaking. He told me, we're in this together. You're not alone. Not for 1 second. I believed him. The first months were rough. Chemo was worse than I imagined. My hair fell out in clumps. I lost my appetite, lost weight, lost track of days. The pain was constant. Some days I couldn't get off the bathroom floor. But Greg was there, at first. He drove me to every appointment. Sat next to me with a book or his laptop while the 4 dripped poison into my veins. He made soup, folded laundry, even helped me shave my head when the hair started patching off. But something changed. Not all at once. Slowly. It was little things. He stopped holding my hand when we walked. He started working later. He spent more time on his phone, locking it when he never used to. He forgot things, important things. He missed one of my chemo sessions. Said he had a meeting he couldn't get out of. I sat in that chair alone, watching the drip, wondering if I was just imagining the distance. But I wasn't. By the time I went into remission, I was different. Physically, emotionally, everything. The scars weren't just from surgery. I looked in the mirror and didn't see the woman I used to be. I felt older. Fragile in ways I didn't understand. And I could feel how he looked at me differently. I asked him once, when we were lying in bed, do you still find me attractive? He hesitated. Just a second. But that pause said everything. He said, you've been through hell. Of course I do. But the words felt hollow. Months passed. I tried to feel close to him again. We went out to dinner. I wore a dress that used to make him smile. He barely looked at me. He scrolled through his phone under the table. I cried in the bathroom. Quietly, so no one would hear. One Saturday, I was in the garage trying to organize some of the junk we'd let pile up. I was reaching for a crate of old Christmas lights when I knocked over a large plastic storage bin. The lid came loose. Inside were smaller boxes, all neatly packed. I opened the top one. It was full of lingerie. Lacy, delicate, expensive stuff. Not my size. Not my style. I dug deeper. Perfume. Jewelry. Wrapped gifts with ribbons. Cards. I read one, you're everything I needed and more. Counting down the days until I can taste you again. My hand shook. I opened another one, you make me feel alive again. I can't wait to spend a weekend with just you. No guilt. Just us. None of them were signed to me. One said, to Julia. Another, my bright star. I sat down on the cold garage floor. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there for a long time with that box in front of me, like I'd found a dead thing buried under the house. When Greg came home later that night, I was sitting in the living room. The box was on the coffee table. He froze when he saw it. He didn't even try to lie. Rachel, he started. I held up one of the cards. Who is Julia? He rubbed his face. His jaw clenched. He looked so tired, like he was the one who'd been sick. Then he said it. Just like that. I needed someone healthy. Someone whole. I didn't speak. I didn't move. He must have mistaken my silence for calm. He added, it wasn't supposed to mean anything. Rachel, you weren't you anymore. Everything was about the cancer, the hospital, your pain. I felt like I was disappearing. I stood up. Walked past him. Went upstairs and shut the door. And I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to him moving around downstairs. I thought about the nights I'd clung to him while I was vomiting from chemo. How he said he'd never leave. How he called me a warrior. And now I was not whole. The next morning, I called Dana. She was a reporter who'd done a story on me during treatment. A local human interest piece, about survival, love, hope. She'd called Greg and me an example of what love looks like under pressure. When she answered, she sounded surprised to hear from me. I told her I had a new story. Not about cancer. About betrayal. I told her everything. Sent her pictures of the box, the cards, the gifts. I even forwarded her emails and screenshots of texts I'd quietly taken from Greg's phone back when I first got suspicious. I hadn't wanted to believe it then. Now I wanted the world to see it. Dana called me 2 days later. Rachel, she said, I'm going to run it. But I need you to be sure. Because this will blow up. I said, I'm sure. She asked if I wanted my name attached to it. I said yes. She published it under the title, Cancer Survivor's Husband Caught Cheating, He Says He Needed Someone Whole. It spread like wildfire. Shared on Facebook. Picked up by local radio. People from the cancer support group commented, furious. A few women I didn't even know emailed me their own stories. And Greg? He lost everything. He worked at a mid-size real estate agency downtown. All his branding was built around being a family guy. His slogan was, let Greg help you find your forever home. With the same care I give mine. Not anymore. Clients dropped him. His broker removed him from the company page within 72 hours. He tried to scrub his Facebook, but it was too late. The screenshots were everywhere. Julia? She was married. Her husband contacted me. He thanked me. Said he was filing for divorce. Said Greg had lied to her too, told her he and I were already separated. Figures. Greg moved out. Took a room at some extended stay motel outside of town. I didn't talk to him again. He emailed once, said, I never meant to hurt you. I didn't respond. Because here's what people don't understand about surviving cancer, it takes everything. Your body. Your mind. Your dignity. And then it gives you back one thing, clarity. You learn what matters. Who matters? Greg wanted someone whole. So I became whole. Without him. A week after the article went viral, I was sitting at my kitchen table with a mug of coffee that had gone cold, staring at the front door. I hadn't left the house in 3 days. I didn't feel like going out and facing the whispers, even though most of the town seemed to be on my side. That's when my phone rang. It was Dana. She sounded nervous. Rachel. I got something you should know. What is it? Greg contacted me. He wants to give a statement. He's threatening to sue for defamation if we don't post a correction. I swallowed hard. A correction? Yeah, she said. He's saying you're exaggerating. That you knew about the affair and are using this to get attention. He claims he stayed with you out of guilt, and that he left as respectfully as possible. I felt my whole body go cold. Is he serious? Dead serious. He sent me an email with evidence. He's got old text messages between you two, some from before your remission. One where you told him you were too tired to care if he needed someone else. I remembered that text. I had been sitting in a hospital bed, hooked to a painkiller drip. I barely knew what I was writing. It wasn't permission, it was surrender. Dana said, "He's trying to paint you as unstable. He wants me to publish a follow-up piece." My hands gripped the edge of the table. "Don't do it." "I won't," she said quickly. "But he's serious, Rachel. And now his lawyer's involved. If this turns into a legal thing," I cut her off. "Let him sue me. Let him drag his mess into a courtroom. I have receipts. He can try." After we hung up, I went into the closet and pulled out the black filing box where I'd kept every hospital bill, insurance record, every card, every doctor's note, every day Greg didn't show up. And I opened my laptop. I started typing. That night, I posted my own version of the story on Reddit. I created a throwaway account, told the truth in plain words, included timestamps, messages, screenshots. I blurred out names, but the story was unmistakably mine. I didn't hold back. I titled it, "My husband cheated on me while I was fighting cancer, now he's mad everyone found out." The post exploded. Hundreds of comments in the first few hours. People were furious. Others told me I was brave. Some had been through the same thing. But it was the DMs that got dark. One came from a woman named Marissa. She said, "I think I might have been one of his girls too. Can we talk?" I messaged her. She lived in Raleigh. Said she met Greg at a conference 2 years ago. Around the time I was starting my second round of chemo. He told her he was single. Said he was dealing with a sick parent, which was why he couldn't always stay the night. She sent me screenshots. Same handwriting. Same phrases. Same perfume in the photos. There were more. 3 other women reached out within a week. One of them had been dating him for almost 6 months. He hadn't just cheated, he'd built a whole second life, piece by piece, in the cracks of my illness. I printed everything. Every message. Every photo. I started building a timeline. Then I got a call from his boss. Well, ex-boss. She told me something I didn't expect. "Rachel, I just wanted to tell you. I'm sorry. Greg brought his mistress to our holiday party last year. Told us it was his new girlfriend. We had no idea you were still together." I stared at the wall, stunned. "You didn't know we were married?" He said the divorce was final. I wanted to laugh. Or scream. But I just thanked her and hung up. So now I had more than just betrayal. I had witnesses. Proof that Greg had told the world I didn't exist before I even hit remission. I sent it all to Dana. And I wasn't done yet. Because there was still one person I hadn't spoken to. Julia. I'd found her number from one of Greg's old texts. I didn't call. I wrote a message, "Hi. You don't know me. But I'm Rachel, Greg's wife. I'm not here to fight you. I just thought you deserved to know the truth. He's lied to all of us." She responded 2 hours later. What she sent back changed everything. Julia's message was short. "I know who you are. I've been waiting for you to reach out." My stomach turned. I read it again. "Waiting?" I replied, "You knew he was married?" She wrote back almost instantly, "Not at first. But I figured it out months ago." And by then, it was too late. I asked her what she meant. What followed was a string of messages that made my skin crawl. Julia told me Greg had promised her he was separated. That they were finalizing papers. He said I was emotionally unstable, that I had threatened suicide after the cancer, and that he stayed with me out of guilt. He said he couldn't be the man he wanted to be around you. That he was dying inside. I felt something in me snap reading that. He had rewritten our story, my story, and turned me into a burden he had to survive. Then Julia dropped the bomb, "I'm pregnant." I just sat there. I couldn't move. She kept writing. I didn't tell him yet. I didn't know if I was going to keep it. But now. I don't even know who he is. I just needed you to know. I didn't answer for a long time. I stared at the message until my phone locked itself. When I finally wrote back, I only said, "You deserve better. So does your child. Protect yourself." She hearted the message. That was the last I heard from her, for now. But it wasn't the end. Because later that week, I got a call from the bank. There was a flagged transaction on our joint account, yes, the one Greg had somehow forgotten to remove himself from. A $4,300 withdrawal. When I asked what it was for, the woman on the phone hesitated. It looks like a down payment on a private rental. In Charlotte. He was moving. Probably with plans to shack up again. Start fresh. A new city, another lie. I called my lawyer. Let's talk about asset freezing, I said. He didn't hesitate. You got it. Within a day, Greg's accounts were locked. He texted me in a rage, "Greg, what the hell did you do? I needed that money." I didn't respond. Then a second message, "Greg, you're trying to ruin me. I gave you everything for years while you fell apart. Still nothing." Then, "Greg, you want war? Fine. Let's see how much sympathy people still have when they hear the truth about you." That's when I knew. He wasn't just trying to hurt me. He was planning something. I had to be ready. After Greg sent that last message, I stayed quiet. I didn't respond, didn't react. I gave him enough rope to hang himself. He tried to twist the story. He posted on his own Facebook page, "I made mistakes, but I stayed by her side when she was at her worst. I gave up everything. And now I'm being dragged by people who only know half the truth." He disabled comments. But it didn't matter. People reposted screenshots, added their own receipts. Julia's messages. Other women's stories. Even one of his old coworkers posted a comment. He was sleeping around during her chemo. No one's buying it, Greg. Then Julia made her own post. It was a selfie. No makeup. Red eyes. Caption, "I believed in a man who lied about everything. I'm pregnant with his child. I didn't know he was married. I know now. I'm not protecting him anymore." That post got shared everywhere. A parenting group picked it up. Then a women's health blog. Greg started losing everything faster than I thought possible. His license got reviewed. He'd lied on paperwork about financial disclosures, money he'd funneled through the joint account without my consent. Real estate agents are supposed to be honest about that stuff. He was suspended from the board. Then came the audit. Turns out, he'd taken $12,000 out of our equity line for personal expenses during my chemo. Not home repairs, like he claimed. Hotel rooms. Flights. Lingerie. The kind of things you can't lie about when they show up on paper. I filed for divorce with fault. Adultery, financial abuse, emotional cruelty. My lawyer was relentless. Every dollar. Every lie. Every charge. Greg tried to fight. But he was drowning in bad press and lawyer fees. Then Dana published her follow-up. She waited until the court filings became public record. Title, "More Women Come Forward, the Fallout After a Husband's Betrayal of Cancer Survivor Grows Deeper." In that piece, she did something I didn't ask for, but I'll never forget it. She ended the article with a line from one of my interviews. I had said it half to myself, half to her, back when this all started. Cancer tried to kill me. Greg tried to erase me. But I'm still here. That quote went everywhere. I didn't ask for a spotlight. But I took it when it came. I used the attention to raise money for a local support group that helps women going through treatment alone. I started speaking at survivor events. Quietly, carefully. I didn't make it about Greg. I made it about surviving people who betray you just when you need them most. Greg ended up moving to a one-bedroom apartment 2 hours away. Last I heard, Julia cut him off. She kept the baby. He begged to be involved. She said no. His family, who once doted on me, stayed silent through all of it. But here's the part one haven't told anyone. Here's my mistake. 6 months into remission, when I was still skin and bone and barely sleeping, I felt Greg slipping. And instead of asking for real help, I pretended I didn't care. I told him once, if you need someone else, just go. I said it like a joke. Like I was strong. But part of me meant it. Because I was scared he already had. I gave him that out. And he took it. So maybe I should have fought harder. Called him out sooner. Maybe I stayed quiet too long. But I survived. And when the time came, I didn't crumble. He said he needed someone whole. I became whole without him. And he lost the one person who would have forgiven him if he'd just stayed true. If he'd just stayed. He lost everything. I didn't. I finally got my life back. And this time it's mine alone.